king of the kickboxers. No retreat, no surrender, 2 and 3. Take a seat, Loren. Welcome to the UK.
Thank you, Paul.
Let's talk first about the injury. If people are here and it's like, I wanted to train with Loren, we need to explain what happened, really.
Of course. So, unfortunately, I had an accident, cracked my head open, busted my eye, let it heal naturally because I can do that. However, my knee was severely bruised, became infected because Master Wallace is not here, Grandmaster Wallace. I said, I have to go. I have to go. So being on the plane, cabin pressure, whatever, it got so swollen and infected that I had to go to an A&E for about 12 hours and get antibiotics. Then I got the orals because I said I gotta go. And that's why I'm here, because when you're a warrior, and I knew Grandmaster Wallace, one of my favorite people, would not be here. I said, I cannot not go. Honor. When you give your word, you keep your word. It doesn't matter. Think about how many warriors have fought to the death for your country, for my country, for our way of life, for honor. They sacrificed. If I want to call myself a warrior, I'm going to do everything in my power to keep my word and to be my word. Is that clear? Thank you.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Okay, back to the beginning. I was born a small child. Go ahead.
So, I sort of know this. I've hung out with Philip and Simon real week, so I sort of know how you got into the movies, but can we explain to everyone how that came about?
Absolutely. So I fell in love with martial arts, of course, through Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee influenced so many people, right? Is there anybody out there? Yes. Okay, so what happened was I was in Bath, England. I was living in London, okay, going to the American school in London, etc. Living on Hamilton Terrace and Hall Road. So we went on a trip to Bath with my mother's dear friend, Ava Mackenzie, who was one of Fred Astaire's daughters. I used to play with his son on Primrose Hill. We went on a sort of a tour of the Lake District, right? So Tyler, their son, who was 15, I was all of 10, said, let's go see this X-rated movie. I don't remember, I think it's Fists of Fury. So I go up, he says, go get your ticket. This is the 70s, guys, right? So go get your ticket. And I'm like, walk up, and I said, one, please. He says, you're not 17. I said, sorry, I'll have to hold this out. Give me the ticket. She gave me the ticket. So went in and watched Bruce Lee, and I was just like, I want to be just like that guy. But then, when I went to Jun Chung Taekwondo, now Jun Chung Martial Arts, I met Simon Reed, and I watched him teach a class. Then they offered free classes for a week. I signed up quicker than on a whatever. So went home, begged my mom for the money for the contract, and because I had gone back and taken a class, and I thought I was in shape. But my fast twitch muscle, all the interskeletal muscles, had never breathed like that before. I remember he came behind me on the first trial. There was only gray sweats and all that stuff, so I had a gray sweatsuit on, and this is at night, and I'm unzipping it. Simon's behind me, zipping it up already. I don't know how he got there. I didn't know anything because I was so winded. He zipped it back up and said, keep your shirt on. So finished that class, begged my mom for the money to sign up for 6 months. 2 weeks later, Simon says to me as we're doing the basic form, Yi Cho Young Ilbu, which is down block punch, down block punch. Finish that. Simon Reese says, Loren and so are the worst in the class. Now, he knew how to motivate. Okay, he was not being mean. He just said that to motivate me. And he did. He knew how to motivate people. So then went on to get my black belt. You know, you have to break 2 bricks, real bricks, in order to pass. Many different things. It involved boxing, this, that, and the other. So my black belt test, I weighed all of like 145 pounds. I went through 2 bricks because but Koreans in 1980, there's the female testing. Loren, they break 1. Loren, you break 2. So he just sprung it on me. So I put a couple of pennies in between on the corners because you need a little gap, and I went through those bricks like butter. And there's a picture on the internet, I'm sure you've seen of that. So I got started with the Ree brothers and Jun Chung, trained there until I was a 2nd degree black belt. And then after that, I was doing all of these fight nights all over. I was talking to Benny the Jet last night, saying, yeah, I used to come to your fight nights and stuff like that because I could box and get in the ring. So basically, Master Chung kicked me out. Why? He said, you're not doing my way. And the reason that I was going to all these schools is because there were 75 black belts. I knew what they were going to do before they knew what they were going to do. I didn't want to pay money, didn't have money to go to tournaments and get a little plastic trophy and be robbed most of the time. So I would go to these school fight nights. And I told him, I said, sir, every time I kick them in the face, knock the wind out of them, do whatever, I'm wearing your patch. I'm representing. Never mind. We friends, but we not associate. So I was a Ronin for a couple of years. And since I'd met J.J. Perry, I don't know if you know who J.J. Perry is, but you look him up. He's now a huge director in film. I gave him his first jobs. But that's how I got involved with Taekwondo. I'm a 9th degree black belt in Taekwondo. I'm a 9th degree black belt in Hapkido. So that's why I've got this wrist guard. That's why I'm all banged up. Is, hey, I had an accident. I slipped, fell over, did what's called an Olay. My feet went in the air above me. This was in my own kitchen. And so I had a big cut in the back. I just put some glue on it, had a black eye. This is like 8 days before I'm supposed to get on a plane. Well, they're not going to let you on a plane. But I had this busted knee, and it's very infected. So thank God for the ANS. Went there for 12 hours. They pumped me full of antibiotics, and I'm still taking antibiotics. And here I am. Because what are we as warriors? We keep our word. So I apologize for not doing the seminars. I promise to come back next year and, sorry, but kick some ass.
Let's talk movies. Am I right in saying that you picked up the phone, took a call? You carry that on, Loren, because I don't know really the truth, not the truth, but the full story.
Okay, I was about 23. And my father, I gotta set it up. My father was going to Africa. He was gonna do safari, Kenya, Tanzania, and South Africa. So I said, well, Dad, I guess my ticket blew off the porch. I said, please, I want to go with you. We've never done anything together. So he said, you pay for the flight, blah, blah, blah. And we did that. I came back home. Now, I couldn't afford to keep my apartment, so I'm back in my mom's house. I'm trying to sell used cars at Claude Short Dodge. So which I didn't sell a one. So at night, I had the key to the dojang. I went there to punch the bag. Roy Horan from Seasonal Films called the studio. Who calls a studio, any martial arts studio, at 9:30 at night? Well, a producer from Hong Kong looking to replace Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Kurt McKinney, because they weren't going to Thailand because they had had their asses beat by the Hong Kong stunt team working on No Retreat, No Surrender 1. So basically, I said, he called and I said, Junjung Taekwondo, and he said, hi, I'm Roy Haran. I'm looking for an actor that's about 6'2", that can do martial arts and act. And I said, you're talking to him. So I made a deal to go see him in some place way out where. And if you know Roy Haran, he's the guy from Snake and Eagle Shadow. He was an amazing guy, but a complete bleep. Anyway, so I knew I had to get there on Saturday. I did. First thing, he looks me up and down. I brought my bag with all my gear. He says, okay, put on your gear. Come on in, put on your gear. Let's go out in the back. I want to test your reaction. So I blew him away with my reactions. Now, okay, let's go. Let's read you. So I actually made him laugh in the acting audition. And I'm talking, this guy is stone-faced. He's stone-faced. I'm going, wow, okay. Does he, maybe he's got some sort of nerve disease that he can't smile or something like that. So basically I made him laugh. He said, okay, I've got to see like 70 other people. I'll let you know. Sure enough, about 4 days later, I get a call. Okay, you got the deal. Go to Century City, sign the contract or don't. We are not changing anything. So guess what? I went to Century City and I signed a 3-picture deal with Seasonal Films.
And that was it. And they're classics. They're classic.
No Retreat, No Surrender, No Surrender 3 is known as one of the best fight movies ever made.
Yes, I mean, do you think it was because of your skills and your looks, the whole package, right?
Well, look, the Chinese don't, well, at that time, please, I'm not being prejudiced at all, but they don't care about the acting. They're going to do 17, 18 takes of the action, and then you get a line reading. You know, you're not doing scene from beginning to end. There's no master shot, just the action, action, action. So I was, poor Matthias, every time I was blocking his unconditioned big arms, they had to spray him down because these bony little conditioned arms, if your muscle and tissue is not conditioned, you're gonna be in pain. So I admire him for doing it, and we did that in about 3.5 months, and it was incredible. It was a just incredible experience working with all the Chinese stunt team and with Yun Kuei. Yun Kuei is one of the most famous action directors in the world. He's passed on, bless his heart. So that's basically what happened. And then that 3-picture deal turned into No Retreat, No Surrender 3, Blood Brothers with the best guy in the world, Keith Vitale. And then King of the Kickboxers, thank God it was Billy Blanks, because he came to me, he was very humble, and he said, Loren, this is your movie. I want it to be the greatest that it can ever be. And so we did everything. Now, how do you double a 6'3", let's just say darker skinned guy in Thailand? Well, you use, and this is terrible, but you put shoe polish on the Chinese guy. So basically any of those Hong Kong twists, or whatever, it's I can't remember his name, but it was an amazing film. Worked with him. We all licked our wounds and kept going. And Thailand is beautiful. So is Clearwater, Florida. That's now where I live. And basically, all I can say is if it wasn't for those films, I wouldn't be here today.
Just a few more questions. What was it like? What was it like when that first came out on VHS and you saw yourself in blockbusters? That must have been a moment, right?
Well, it was a moment. I had that happen before with the other films. No Retreat, No Surrender 2 got a wide theatrical release, 2,500 theaters in America. and King of the Kickboxers. Basically, they did sort of a domestic release, but I had to fly to like 3 cities a day for like 3 weeks in order to meet all the Video Software Dealer Association people who actually sell to the Blockbuster, to all those video stores, and they couldn't buy enough of them.
They were everywhere. They were everywhere. So since then, what were you just touring, planning? You've got an association, or you're head of an association, is that right?
This is going to be a bit of a long answer. So I became a father. I was Mr. Mom. Basically, I would do anything to help any charities. I worked and I've helped with, shall we say, diverted youth that would have gone to prison, but they have to go through a program. I worked with the LA County Sheriff's Department, 300 kids at a camp, and I'd go up with the California Youth Karate Club and, help these kids out. Go down to Inglewood. When I would go down to the park at Inglewood where J.J. Perry's school is, there would be 2 people there holding a spot for me on the street. When I got out, there's a bunch of tape about a store way down and blood, which is where somebody was shot the night before. So I would go to all the hoods and I would talk to school districts, PTA, which is Parent Teacher Association, City Council. I would stump for after-school martial arts programs. Also in Hawaii, I did the Penn Hawaii Youth Foundation. There was Kealapono, there was Salvation Army, and all these kids are basically men. I can remember them saying, "Hey, aren't you afraid to go in there?" I said, "No, they should be afraid of me." And that's command presence. So I saved many people. You can see the graduation of that, by the way, on YouTube. It's there. So always giving, always donating, always training. So I happened to meet at a testing one of the founders of the Cookie Wand, Don number 303, Grandmaster Incon Park. And he took a liking to me right away because we were judges on the same panel. And now I am Secretary General of the United States Taekwondo Federation.
And now you're here in the UK.
Yeah, I was in the UK when I was a boy, mate. Remember? Yeah. So now I'm here in the UK. I, again, sincerely apologize for not appearing, but if you saw my knee, you'd understand. So, yeah, now I'm here in the UK. I love the UK. You know what's so funny? I got off the plane, and I started walking on the left side. All these people are running into me, I'm like, hey, you're on the wrong side. And basically, I love the UK. I think everyone is so, well, not everyone, of course, but everyone is so polite, gentlemanly. Hey, mate, there's nothing wrong with a hug and a this and a that, or you know what I mean? Like, I've made so many mates here now. I will be back. I love the United Kingdom. I love QE2, and I'll leave it at that.
We're grateful, UK. We know you've been through a lot, and we're grateful that you carried on with your commitments as best you could. Everyone, Loren Avedon.
Thank you, everyone. God bless you, and may you have a wonderful life.